Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. In this video I will be talking about my experience by getting a hormonal IUD, also known as Mirena or a copper IUD. So yesterday I had my appointment at the doctor's office to get my IUD. As you can see which one I had, my name and the date. And it was very interesting. So a few weeks ago I called my doctor's office because I wanted to switch from birth controls. I used to have pills for a couple of years, I think like 7 or 8 years, and I wanted to switch to an IUD. So they discussed everything and they made an order at my apothecary to get my IUD. And in the next few clips I will show you how it looks like and kind of to give an impression on the entire IUD. Alright, so I got my IUD delivered and it's a giant box. And the thing that came out is also pretty creepy. So yesterday at 11:10 a.m. I had my appointment. I never had an appointment to let anything checked out down there, so it was very new to me. But the doctor was very kind. She explained exactly what she was gonna do, how it worked, and whenever I would feel any pain. It was really nice that she told me all those things because I never had anything done before. And eventually she just unpacked the IUD and she told me to lay on the table. And I also had to be on my last day of my period, or at least within 7 days of my period, because the mouth of like your uterus is a bit more open than if you're not on your period. So it definitely helped a lot to insert the IUD. So she started with using a speculum. They used some lube and they preheated it a little bit, although mine wasn't really that warm. But they just inserted it, it went pretty smoothly, she attached everything. And she then tried to measure the inside of my uterus so she knows how far the IUD had to go. She used a super thin little strip to measure everything. But because I never had kids before, I never had an IUD before, it went a little bit more rough than it should be. Like she had some issues measuring, and then she used some pliers to open up like my uterus a little bit. And I'll show you a picture somewhere here on how those pliers look like. They were probably the most sharp and pain I've ever had. They were not comfortable at all. Like they had really sharp pointy ends and they used it to clamp on your uterus and open it up a little so they can measure better. And it wasn't fun at all, but especially because she still couldn't measure properly, so she called in a doctor. And he had to use the same pliers again because he wasn't sure either. So I had those pliers that you can still see here somewhere twice in my uterus, and it was not fun. Like it doesn't hurt for long, like as soon as they put the pliers on there, it really hurts. Like it feels like really sharp period cramp, and it wasn't fun. But as soon as the pliers were on there, it was fine. And they measured it and they finally got the right size and everything they needed, and then they finally inserted the IUD. It was very straightforward. The IUD didn't hurt itself, like you couldn't feel anything about it, but the pliers were probably the most painful part. But yeah, if you're lucky, you probably only need those pliers once, if you're lucky, not like me twice. And yeah, I think it was done within 10 minutes, maybe less. It was not feeling great, but I managed to do it. I also had like kind of some painful period cramps afterwards. Like on your worst day where you have some really bad cramps, that's what I felt the entire time. And as soon as she removed the speculum, I lost a bit of blood because they obviously just were rumbling around down there. But everything got cleaned up, got my underwear back, my clothing, and I just had to lay down for a little bit to make sure I wasn't gonna faint or feel dizzy or any type of way that's not comfortable. So yeah, I was just laying there for a little bit, try to catch my breath, process everything, and after like 5 or 6 minutes I got up, got dressed again, and it was all fine. So this IUD works for 5 years. You don't have to take a daily pill like birth control pills. They also thicken the slime on the walls in your uterus, so like sperm and such things won't be able to get through, at least not as good as it's supposed to go. And it also prevents like your egg cells to not nestle inside your uterus. But yeah, it doesn't fully prevent a period. You can still have some spotting, like tiny little drops along the month, but you won't have a full-on period anymore, which is very convenient because some people or some girls can really have some issues with heavy periods, pain, cramps and those things. So that's why I also really recommend it, especially because, well, I'm not a big fan of periods. To really sum up my appointment, it was worse than I thought, but it was also not that bad. Like, it's over pretty quickly, and especially because the IUD works for 5 years, it's so much better. Like, you get used to it a lot and it's not too bad. So yeah, if you're scared of getting pain or you're really anxious about it, just know it's not as bad as you think it's gonna be. With some luck you only have those pliers once, or if you're really lucky they don't even have to use it because they can measure your uterus just fine and they can insert the IUD just fine. So yeah, try not to worry about it. It's not as bad as you think. You're outside within 10 minutes, and mostly the time of that waiting is just sitting there, laying there and waiting for the stuff to be over with. It's really not as bad, and it lasts for 5 years. You don't have to take a daily pill anymore. It's more reliable than a birth control pill, especially if you're sick a lot or you have to throw up or you have diarrhea. Like, it's still reliable because you don't like throw it up, you don't get rid of it or anything. And yeah, I really recommend it. The IUD also has some really thin wires, like they are less than this thick. They are very similar to like fishing line, and they kind of poke out of your uterus, to say it like that, but your partner shouldn't be able to feel it. They could, but it shouldn't be harmful or cause any pain. Just be sure to not like rush anything the first 24 to 48 hours. Just see how you feel, and if you have any questions you can always just call your GP or the doctor's office or any type of help you can get from the medical world. And yeah, that's about it. It look really scary, but I can assure you it's not. It's less of a deal than I thought it was gonna be. Like, of course the pliers were pretty painful, but it's not something you wouldn't be able to like handle, so it should be okay. I did feel a little bit lightheaded because of the pliers twice, but after like a few seconds I was like, okay, it's over, it's done, and that's it. So anyway, you can also see in this little booklet that I got is how they insert it. It's a little T plastic thingy that they put up your uterus. It doesn't hurt at all. The pliers are the only thing that are pretty uncomfortable, but you can do it, it's fine. And there's also a lot of information in this little book. There's a lot of information online. And if you just ask your doctor's office or assistants there for more information, I'm sure they can give you some more websites. And yeah, that's about it. That's my experience with getting an IUD. So far I'm happy with it, and I'm excited to see how it goes in the future. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions about the hormonal IUD or about my experience, you can always leave them down below in a comment or just send me an email. I'll gladly answer any questions you guys have. And yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!